Satan, Lucifer, Belial, Leviathan, Samael.
Welcome. This is Aleister Nacht. I have a very special guest tonight. She is a pioneer on the left-hand path. She has been around, I believe, since 1992. We'll ask her about it as far as in the public eye. She has a YouTube channel that has been an inspiration to millions, and I do not hesitate in saying that, me being one of them. She showed that there was another way, there is another path, and it was okay to be on that path and to admit who you were and what you were doing. And it certainly inspired me greatly. So please welcome Venus Satanas. Venus, welcome tonight.
Thank you, Alistair. I appreciate it. And I want to say happy holidays and happy new year. It's a brand new year coming up.
I know it's going to be a great 2025.
Mhm.
I hope. So, am I correct that it was about 1992 that you started your public, I guess, being in public?
Yeah, yeah, it was. I found Satanism at the local public library when I was 13 back in 1992. And the reason, well, how I found it was I was in the reference section doing research on art. I was really into art and drawing and things like that. And so I wanted to look at some art books. And here's this book on the Church of Satan, the Blanche Barton hardcover edition of the Church of Satan. And I couldn't take the book out because it was in the reference section. Like those are the books you couldn't check out. You had to leave them there. So I made photocopies and I took them home and I would go back to the library and like read the book. Thinking back on it, it's pretty amazing that my small town had this book in their local library back in the 90s. It was like at the very tail end of the Satanic Panic. So anyway, not being raised Christian, it kind of gave me like the other side of the coin where, most of my life I heard people talk about Christianity and Jesus and all that. And I knew that there were other religions, but then when I saw this side of it, I said, wait a minute, this is everything that makes sense to me. Like this is like they're describing my humanity in this book. So it just made total sense to me. And that's how I fell on the path. And I made my first pact with Satan that year in 1992. And it was life changing. And I even though I've studied everything from Thelema to Wicca and everything else in between, just to understand how they see the world through the eyes of the occult. The only thing that makes sense to me, the only thing I'm comfortable with, is Satanism and the left hand path.
I think that really resonates with a lot of people. I know my experience was very similar finding the Satanic Bible. So it was yeah, I can closely identify with that. You're a spiritual Satanist, correct? So,
Yes.
can you kind of explain how that differs from theistic or, well, any other branches of Satanism?
I think it is important to draw that line so people understand, because right now the public face of Satanism is and always has been atheistic, you know. And this is what the Church of Satan promoted over time. This is what the Satanic Temple promotes. That's the public face of Satanism is just symbolic and atheistic. But behind that, there's many of us who have a more spiritual experience with Satan or with Satanism in general. And, you know, it's just how a person chooses to walk that path. And like, I've always been a spiritual kind of person. And I feel like I get so much more out of it by embracing the spiritual side. Now, the difference between the spiritual side and the religious side, um, when it comes to religion, they tend to tell you what to believe. They just lay it out for you in the book, and then you got to believe what they say. There's no questioning. It's like this absolute truth or something like that. And I'm just not into that. That's not my thing, you know. Like I'd rather discover my own personal truth and my own personal path. And that's what I try to teach in my teachings, that no matter what I've taught people about Satanism, it's up to the individual to experience their own personal path in Satanism. I'm not here to tell people what to believe and you know everything like that. So you know because that basically cheats people out of their personal experience. But to conclude, there are people that do worship Satan, and I see absolutely nothing wrong with that. I think it's awesome. Yes. You know, I have been to that place before, and um you know so so I think it's wonderful that we have this variety of expression when it comes to Satanism. We're not just locked into one perception or one reality. Mm.
I agree with that. So are you a coven member or a soul practitioner?
I am definitely independent. I've always been independent. I've I've had my times when I've associated with people in 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 groups, you know, and I've spent time in groups, but you know, I never really claimed to be a part of a group, and I've never tried to have a group of my own. Like, why? You know, if Satanism is a personal path, then I see no point in having some kind of church dedicated to that. You know, it seems kind of redundant, like you know.
Right.
But I always tell people when they ask me what group they should join, I say, well, first of all, you should do your research and find out the good and bad things that people say about it. But also, if you decide to join, just take it as a learning experience. You'll be surrounded by people who are in the same pursuit of knowledge that you are. Maybe you'll learn something new about yourself or new about Satanism. So, you know, there's upsides and downsides to belonging to a group, you know. But I've always been independent, like, you know, just like the original stories of Satan. Satan didn't have a group, like he did his thing on his own, you know, like come on,
Right.
you know, he's always been independent.
So, how important is ritual to your practice?
Well, I've had times where I was deeply involved in ritual. I remember when I got my first apartment when I was 23, I think. Uh, the whole inside of my bedroom was like a huge ritual room with books and altar, and I did stuff in there weekly, and it was insane because I was sleeping in the same room, and it was like, you know, like there was magic everywhere. It was crazy. And then after doing physical ritual for so many years and getting results, like I kind of stepped away from that and started working with more symbolic magic, like kind of like the chaos magic method, where you can do a sigil on a piece of paper and it'll have the same effect. But I think that there are times when ritual is appropriate. Like when I went to the Sanctum of the Morning Star and I met with all those people, uh, several of the speakers did rituals. I know the Lake of Warden did a black mass for everyone. It was amazing to be there with all the other Satanists and experiencing that channel of energy and power. So I think that ritual definitely has its place. It's not something that I do regularly. Like Like I don't. I've just been into it for so long that tend to keep it for special events.
Was that the Symposium of the Occult?
Yes, yeah. I went to this symposium of the occult at Sanctum of the Morning Star back in May. Was it back in May? And it was amazing because Winter Lake actually bought a church. He bought a church and then turned it into the world's first Luciferian church. So amazing. This place was so amazing. And it was awesome to be there with other Satanists. Like it was kind of surreal because me joining Satanism back in 1992, I had no idea that anything like this could ever happen. Like I was overjoyed that this is actually happening. This is the world we live in now, where so many of us have done so many good things for the left hand path. So yeah, it was so amazing. It was awesome.
It is a vibrant community. It really is. If we can get past all the infighting that happens from time to time,
That's what
but
makes it spicy.
it does. It does. It keeps it interesting, that's for sure. But I have myself met so many wonderful people on the left-hand path over the last 30, 35 years.
Mhm.
And it's just wonderful to experience their beliefs and what they're doing and to see how they practice their beliefs. And some of them are very different than mine and ours in Magnum Opus, and some of them are very much the same. But it really adds a variety to that. I really like that.
It does.
Yeah, yeah.
It's necessary. It's necessary.
It is. It is. And something I don't know if you've noticed, have you noticed a lot of younger people coming to the path?
I have, and in all the years that I've been writing about Satanism since 2004, I feel like this is the second generation that I'm talking to with my videos and writings. The first generation was between 2004 and let's say 2012. And then after that, there was the second generation of Satanists. Like it just, and it's just never ending. And unfortunately, I feel like the younger generation today, they're so spoiled with their internet. Like I remember back in the day when you had to research something, you went to the library and actually read a book. Like you had to really search to find stuff. And nowadays, we can just type anything in Google and there it is. Like spoiled. I mean, absolutely spoiled.
Yeah,
And you would think that this would be a good thing, but there's it's wonderful that younger people are still interested in Satanism. They're still interested in it.
absolutely. Well, it keeps the lifeblood. It will keep the lineage going. And I think we're all just placeholders in history. And, in maybe 100 years, people will be reading your book and seeing your video and going, wow, this was around back then.
Mhm.
And it will be inspiring. I really believe that.
You too. You too.
Yeah, I hope so. I really do. I hope to leave a legacy like that to
Mhm.
share because it blesses my heart to give back to the community. It's really wonderful. So, how did you come about ending up on YouTube? Was it just something you wanted to do or something you felt called to do?
Well, I got my YouTube channel started back in 2007. And for years, I've been hanging out at the IRC chat rooms with Magasiva. And people kept coming in asking questions about Satanism. we we still have a channel. It's called Satanity on IRC.net. So this was the old time chat rooms where people had to just type, this that's all we had. And people kept talking about YouTube. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get a YouTube channel. And back then there was very few people talking about spirituality. Like I think I knew like two or three pagans and a couple Wiccans, and there was no Satanists. So I don't want to say that I was the first Satanist on YouTube, but I could have been one of the first. And I opened the channel with the intent to make a series that correlated with the writings on my website to help people understand the path of Satanism and the path of the occult. And it was interesting to me because during that time, a couple of Wiccans tried to argue with me and start video wars, and I was like, come on, like I wanted to be different. Everyone else started fighting with each other, and I said, I really don't have time for this. I'm here to teach people. I'm not here to fight with you. So one by one, I ended up becoming friends with these people by talking with them, because that's the kind of person I am. I would rather, like, if somebody's different than me, I'd rather learn about them than try to fight with them. Like, come on, you know. So my videos have always been like an educational resource for people, you know. So, and it's amazing what we have now. There's so many channels, but I noticed that you've been doing really good things with your channel. You've been interviewing a lot of interesting people. You've been reaching out to other people on the left-hand path. And I love that. I totally love that. Like I saw your interviews with Stephanie Connolly, Orly Stewart, Frater Crow. I'm like, yes, let's keep the conversation going. Good.
Thank you for that. That to me is something that I wanted to do for a long time. And I was very apprehensive because I thought, well, if people when I reach out to them, they'll think, well, what does he want from me? Or, I'm doing a Jerry Springer interview or some crap like that. And it was, it's just for posterity, I guess, because as you said, years from now, someone will look back and maybe they will want to know who were the people on the left-hand path, who were the people that were influencing the movements in the different areas, and maybe that'll be a way for them to research it. Now you've got the last count I saw, about 14.2 thousand subscribers and over 1 million views. Like,
It's incredible.
wow, wow. I am just blown away. And I don't know, maybe 200,000 of those are me viewing.
Oh, well, thank you.
But I love every one of them. I used to look so forward to you dropping a new video. It was just like, oh yeah, this is delicious. I can't wait, You just I don't think you really realize what an inspiration you are to a lot of people. And thank you for that. Absolutely.
That is heartfelt. It is.
You've written a book also, Spiritual Satanist Prayer Book, Infernal Reflections.
Mhm.
Tell us a little bit about that book. How did that come about?
The Spiritual Satanist Prayer Book. When I wrote that, or when I started putting it together back in 2017, it was right before I was headed to Flambeau Noir, which was a left-hand path gathering in Portland, Oregon. And I was like, you know what? I think now is the time for me to finally write this book. Because if I recall, I've been talking about writing a book for like years. So, but the thing that came to me was to put together a prayer book because people want that way that they can meditate with Satan, and that's really what the book was about. It was not necessarily about being subservient to Satan, but more about being in tune with that spiritual path and being able to use Satan and, well, being able to use prayer like a form of magic, which is how I approach it in the book. But during the time that I was writing it, I had no idea that the book had a twin, and it was Marie Ravensoul, who also was writing a prayer book. And the thought was really amazing because, first of all, a satanic prayer book did not exist at that point. There was no such thing. We had books on ritual, we had books on satanic history, philosophy, everything else, but we did not have a prayer book. So that's why I created my prayer book, and I made it in a little pocket size so you could slip it in your pocket or in your bag and take it with you everywhere. And but it was pretty amazing that when I published my book after the Mercury retrograde was over, I literally waited until Mercury retrograde was over to publish my book. But when I published it, she published hers like 2 or 3 days later, and then I contacted her because she had no idea either. Like, she had no idea that she had a prayer book too, and so I just kind of took it as a sign that Satan was really happy, I guess, if you want to personify it, that Satan was happy. Satan was causing that manifestation to come through both of us, you know. And so it was like a confirmation that we were on the right path. We were doing the right thing, and it's just amazing. And it's still available on Amazon and people love it. I'm just overjoyed with it.
I have it in my library, and I have two of Marie Ravensoul's books, and I love Marie. She left the left hand path. She
Yeah.
sent me an email, and it was a very nice email. It really was. It was personal, so I don't want to reveal anything, but I love her so much
Yeah.
for what she did. And you know what? She decided to go another path. Whatever makes her happy.
Mhm.
That's the way I feel. And I'm happy for her in whatever she's found. Life is too short not to be happy, but I thought it was very nice of her to contact me, and I still, her books are fantastic as well as yours. So I strongly recommend. I'm going to put a link to all of your sites in the description,
Thank you. Yes.
especially that book. And you also have a Patreon, correct?
Yes, I do. And I'm actually going to start posting more on it this year. I had a few things posted on it last year, but I didn't realize what an incredibly powerful resource Patreon could be. It's not just about the subscriptions because I do post a lot of free stuff there too.
I have found it to be wonderful. It's a wonderful center point for people to stay up with the work.
Mhm.
And I probably post as much free stuff as I do things behind the paywall. But there is also a way that people can just join and follow your work in a free version of that. And
Mhm.
it's a wonderful way of people just kind of coming together, and you can let people know what's happening. I'm going to start a new series where I talk about the manuscript Silentium in Persona Diaboli that I received in Germany years
Oh
ago.
wow. Really?
And I'm going to start breaking it down. I have been so lazy, and I truly apologize. Satanas just kicked me square in the ass and said, every day you're wasting with with trivial things, you could be doing this and sharing it. So
Yeah.
I've made a resolution and I've made a promise that I'll do that in 2025. But Patreon is a wonderful, wonderful place, and I'll put that link as well in
Thank you.
there. Now, I also found in doing a little research that you were featured in the 2009 anthology Women's Voices in Magic.
Yes, I was. And that was an incredible experience. It was. The nice thing about that book was that it took women from all different paths, everyone from Wicca to the Lemic, which is mostly guys, Satanism, which is mostly guys. Like it was just amazing. At the editor's choice of people to write for that book, and I wrote about my experience of being a satanic witch, and it just, I don't know, I consider it one of the most amazing things I've ever done, but I hardly ever talk about it because that was so long ago. That was back in 2009. It's like 2025 now.
Yeah, but
Oh,
it's timeless. It's timeless.
yeah, actually,
Absolutely.
yeah.
It really is. Also, you have a parrot. Do you still have your parrot?
Oh, yes, I do. He's sitting in the window right now, being very, very good. Because I remember the last time we did our video chat, it was with Hale and Horns, and
Yeah.
he would not stop talking. So I finally went and got him and put him on my shoulder.
Yeah.
Oh
Oh,
man.
wonderful. Wonderful. So, and you also were involved in a documentary earlier this year. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how that came to be and what it's about?
Winter Lake, the man who created Sanctum of the Morning Star, wanted to put together the symposium of the occult, and what it was a gathering of people from all different paths, but mostly the left hand path. And uh, Winter Lake built his church based on Luciferian philosophy. He's a Luciferian, which I think is awesome. It's not Satanism, but it's basically the same thing. But yeah, so I thought that it was amazing that he actually went out and purchased a church to do this and to create Sanctum of the Morning Star. So his documentary was about the church and how he turned it into a sanctum for Luciferians. And there was several people there. There was Lucifer, Lake of Warden, there was Tau Pneumaticos, E.A. Coetting was there, but not in person. He did it like Zoom type thing. And he even did a ritual on camera. It was amazing, just amazing at all the people that were there. And so I'm pretty sure that Winter got some really good footage of everyone. He even went back and did interviews after each one of us did our presentation. He did an interview to accompany the presentation. So I'm gonna get with Winter in the next couple of days and ask him when he's gonna release that, because I can't wait. I can't wait. Yeah, and
Wonderful.
yeah, and he was talking about doing a series of documentaries that, which I think is great because now we have somebody who's actually on the inside, somebody from the left-hand path who knows how to do this kind of thing and is interested in recording the history of Satanism in the left-hand path. That's awesome.
I agree. Most of the time when we have people contact us, it's because they want to make some kind of freak documentary.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Oh
look
my
at what they're doing. They're
God.
dancing naked in the yard. No, it's not. It's not what. It's all about getting a click. So to have someone that's really interested and is inside,
Yeah.
this. I would love to, when you get the link, let me know. I will
Yes,
certainly put that out
absolutely.
and promote that as well. Where do you see yourself in 5 years on the
Uh,
left-hand path?
let's see. I'm going to turn into an AI avatar now. I'm just kidding. I'm going to turn into an AI avatar. No, you know what? When I wrote my first book, the Satanic Prayer Book, I dedicated that first book to Satan. And I thought, wouldn't it be wonderful if the other three books that I wrote were dedicated to Lucifer and Belial and Lilith? So hopefully I'll have something put together for next in the series. And then by the time all that's completed, I would have had four books dedicated to the left hand path, you know. So, but other than that, you know, I definitely have to get back into making videos. I'm kind of crunched on time though because I work two jobs and then plus I have my web design business. So I'm busy all the time, you know, but I want to try to fit it in there somewhere.
So you design websites as well?
Yeah, I've been doing website design ever since 2009. You know, it started out with my sites, but I've had other sites that I've worked on throughout the years. I do a lot of work on WordPress and things like that, and a lot of SEO and stuff like that. So I'm having fun with that. I have a big contract that I'm working on right now. I have my two clubs that I work at where I DJ.
So if someone is interested in having you design their website and maintain it, what's the easiest way to contact you about that?
Definitely send me an email. And you know what? I would be especially willing to help people in the left hand path, you know, because it takes time to build and maintain a website. Not everyone has the eye for it or the patience or the knowledge. So, you know, just shoot me an email and we can talk.
And do you mind people contacting you about the left-hand path? Do you do any readings or anything like that? Or
Yeah, you know, I haven't done a reading in a long time. I actually just bought a new tarot deck because the one that I had um it had been so used and kind of beat up, and then I started using the cards for spells and stuff like that. So I ended up having to get a new deck, and I haven't done readings for people in a long time, but that's not really something that goes away. Once you learn how to read, you know how to read, you know. So, you know, I could do readings for people anytime. I just choose not to because back when I was doing readings full time, it was quite the experience because I was always spiritually on, like 24/7, you know. When you're reading for people like that, like your mind doesn't shut off. It's always going like, yeah. I just step away just for a little bit.
yeah, it gets to be exhausting. What advice do you have for someone that's out there looking and they have come across this video and they're looking for a path? What advice would you offer them?
One of the most important things is to read and study because the more a person reads and studies, the more they can open their mind to the available knowledge that's out there. And knowledge is limitless. And once you understand what you're kind of after, then it makes it a little bit easier. But you're not going to know what you're after unless you open your mind to those possibilities. So, you know, and I think, you know, Satanism isn't for everyone. It's it sounds easy, it sounds glorious, right? Just do whatever you want and live life how you want. And now it's a little more complicated than that. It's definitely not for everyone, and it's not supposed to be. So it's only going to appeal to a certain amount of people anyway. And then of those people, only a certain amount of people are actually going to take the time to read, study various sources, learn on their own, discuss with other people, and take it seriously. It's not something that happens overnight. And getting back to talking about the young people of this generation, um, everyone's so used to getting instant results. You know, when you're searching for knowledge and you just type it in the search bar and there it is, there's your instant results. But it's not like that. It's a process. I always tell people that spirituality is a journey, not a destination. It's not somewhere that where you're supposed to be. It's what you learn along the way. That's what makes it. So yeah.
Well, how do you think artificial intelligence is going to change things? Do you think it's going to be for the good, or do you think it's going to be, as some people have said, a poisoned well?
Excuse me. Well, I for one personally think that I kind of welcome it. I mean, if they could give us a universal basic income and we could just make a paycheck sitting home because they took all these jobs and everything's automated, hey, great, right? It sounds like the paradise that Anton LaVey was talking about in one of his documentaries. You remember where he had the mannequin sitting next to him, and he said that someday everything's going to be like artificial intelligence. Like everyone's going to be like a where everything would be automatic somehow. So I always think that's kind of funny, but I really hope it doesn't get out of hand. And it's going to change society. It is changing society, even if it doesn't take our jobs. It's going to change everything, and it's almost kind of magical. Like here's this computer like giving us these answers. Like, is this an oracle?
I know I use it a lot, and it sometimes it does really good, and sometimes it hallucinates, and
Mm-hmm.
it starts going down the rabbit hole, and it's like, whoa, let's back up a little bit. But I think when it has fully developed, it's going to be a wonderful tool. I think it's going to take a little time, but I agree with you. If there is a way to make everyone's life better, isn't that really what technology is for?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's supposed to improve our lives.
So is the best way to contact you through your spiritualsatanist.com website?
Yes, yes. I do have a contact form there and I do read my letters all the time and I get questions and comments and spam. But yes, I am available through there.
Excellent. So I've asked a lot of questions tonight. What have I not asked you that you would like to talk about?
Well, I kind of wanted to discuss with you the synchronicity about this whole experience we're having right now that came about over the past couple of days. Um, when you wrote to me a couple days ago and you asked me if I wanted to do an interview, and I said yes, of course. Like the next day, I was in line at the store. I bought two items, and guess how much the receipt was?
I
Six
don't know.
dollars and 66 cents, right? And of course, the lady behind the counter is saying something about it.
Yes, yes, yes.
And then this afternoon, I put I put some food in my nutrition app, and the calories came out to 666. I said, wait a minute, come on now. So I think anytime I've ever done anything like that, like taken a trip somewhere because of Satanism or done anything to help with the path, there's always been some kind of sign that's always popped out to me. And it's always been the number 666. Like So, like, I literally had these signs for the past 2 days.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's
That was
wonderful.
beyond. I was like, yes, that's awesome. You know, so this spirit of Satan is still very much alive and well within me, and of course within you. You know.
I have those things as well. I have those little happenings that happen all the time. And I don't look for them, but they become abundantly apparent. They're just like right there. And it's almost like Satan is saying, okay, you're doing the right thing, or I know that you thought this was going to be insurmountable, but here's how I'm going to help. You're on the right
Yeah.
path.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it is. You're absolutely right. It's synchronicity. And I think he communicates, the satanic spirit communicates, because I believe, and magnum opus, our beliefs are based on the fact that we're all interconnected. We're in this world together, but we're all very intricately interconnected. And you're probably familiar with the butterfly effect, right? The
Hmm.
butterfly
Yep.
flaps its wings and affects something. I believe that's true as well, because certain things that we do will strongly influence something in the future or someone else. Just hearing you tell me about your experiences, I think back to experiences that I had last week that led to me sending you that email. And
Oh my God.
it's like, yeah, it's like, okay, this is what you need to do. And I'm going
Yes.
to open those doors for you. And, I'm not going to draw an arrow, but you will know if you're going in the right direction because you will continue to move.
Hmm. Yep.
It's so real. And people
Yep.
miss that. I get a lot of email from atheists and a lot of people coming from established groups. And they've gone through the group, they've been in the group, and they're wanting something more now. Their
Hmm.
their spirit is
Yep.
wanting something, some connection. And they reach out, and I can tell that many of them are very hesitant to do that. I mean, if their group were to know, they would probably be ridiculed and everything, but they're
Hmm.
really looking for something real, something tangible. And
Hmm.
I had one contact me 2 weeks ago, and she told me her predicament. And I asked her to look for a specific thing. I won't go into it, but I asked her to notice a certain thing, and it will appear 6 times in the next 24 hours.
Mm. Yeah.
She wrote me back the next day. I mean, almost 24 hours. She wrote me at 3:30 in the morning, her time in California. And she said, I can't believe this, but I have to tell you, all of these things happened, and I just had to contact you.
That's incredible. That's
Yeah.
like, hello, wake up.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it gives me
Wow.
goosebumps, when I
Yeah.
hear stuff like that and know. And I don't even know why I said it. I just felt that that was what
Yeah.
Satanas wanted me to say. And, some people would say, well, these people are crazy. They're hearing voices. It's not a voice. It's not audible. It's a thought
Mhm.
that comes to you, just like if you were driving down the road
Yeah.
and you said, I want to go and get ice cream. and you turned left and went for ice cream. It's not that someone's in the back seat saying, "Here, let's go ice cream," you know.
That was said you were all about ice cream.
Yeah, yeah. It is in the brain. All of those electrical connections line up at a certain point, and that is when there is a communication. And everything is vibrational. That to me is how magic works, is through the vibrations. That's the way that we can penetrate the veil, because nothing can go through the veil in our three realities or our three dimensions. So we must be in a state where we bounce against the veil, and we, by cause and effect, we influence those beyond the veil, and they come to us. So
Yeah,
thank you for bringing that up. That is just wonderful.
yeah. Well, it's always been a big part of my experience as a Satanist. Like there's certain times when it just certain things like that happen. You know, like I went to go apply for a job, and here's the girl at the bar with a program on her shirt, and I'm like, hey, I'm in the right place, right? So I had to this job. And I'm like, oh, there's just a tiny example of this stuff, And then when I was traveling on the road with my fiance to go to the symposium of the occult back in March, I saw this truck with the 666. I put it on my Facebook and had the numbers on the side of the truck. Like I have stuff like that happen, but the ability to have your mind open, be able to see that is pretty amazing. Like there's just a lot of people that go through life living the mundane and don't even realize all the miracles that are happening all around them all the time.
Absolutely.
We are truly blessed. We are truly blessed.
So, what else would you like to leave our viewers with? Any closing thoughts?
Well, since it's so close to New Year's Eve, I like to say that New Year's is definitely probably my second favorite holiday besides my birthday. You know, and so the promise of New Year's is the promise of being able to start over and being able to try something new. So if you're hesitant about Satanism, now is your chance. Try something new. Spend some time learning about it. Read a few chapters of the Satanic Bible and see if it resonates with you. Watch some of Aleister's videos and you will learn something, and take a chance on yourself, on your life, on your path. Mm-hmm.
Well, I thank you so much for taking time to be here with me tonight, and we're going to do it again if you want to. I would love to have you back and
Yes.
keep up with what you're doing and what new things are out there. As I said, you're such an inspiration to people. And
Thank you.
so, and for those of you at home watching, thank you so much for watching. And until next time, this has been Aleister Nacht. Ave Satanas.
Ave Satanas.